It could save a child's life every 2 minutes. Britain's pledged an extra £800 million to help vaccinate the world's poorest children. International donors, including governments, drug companies and charities, joined forces today to pledge more than $4 billion to help immunise children against common conditions like pneumonia and diarrhoea. In a moment, we'll hear from the head of UNICEF, Tony Lake. But first, here's our science correspondent, Tom Clarke.
This little girl in Mozambique has pneumonia, a disease that very rarely kills kids in the West, but globally accounts for 1 in 5 child deaths. Now, 250 million more children will be given jabs that prevent diseases like pneumonia, because today, childhood vaccination received a massive injection of cash.
This is the first time that we can say that poor children will not be refused the vaccines that the children in the rich countries get because there's not enough money. So I just want to thank everybody for this incredible milestone. 4 hours is a long time, but if you can save 4 million lives in 4 hours, it's well worth every minute.
Not just a long meeting, but one in which Bill Gates himself was outspent. The British government pledging a whopping £814 million to the Global Vaccine Alliance, more than twice any other donor nation.
Nelson Mandela once said, "Life or death for a young child too often depends on whether it's born in a country where vaccines are available." Today, we can help end that cruel lottery. And I'm delighted to say that Britain will play its full part.
It's places like Liberia that can really benefit. Chronically poor and misgoverned in recent decades, curbing infant mortality is one thing that can pay dividends for decades to come. But right now, can Britain afford to help? How can it be that at this conference in London, childhood vaccination has just had a massive boost in funding? Well, the calculation seems to be, in times of austerity, vaccines are a safe bet. They can't be used to fund a war or line the coffers of a corrupt regime. Provided they get into the arm of the child that needs them, vaccines work. Every year, an estimated 1.7 million children die from diseases a vaccine could prevent. But since the launch of the Gavi Alliance a decade ago, nearly 300 million children have been immunised, in a programme it says has saved over 5 million lives. According to the organisation, today's extra money will stop a further 4 million more premature deaths by 2015.
David Cameron and Andrew Mitchell deserve an enormous amount of credit. We now need to turn, as the Prime Minister said, these promises into action, and that the big part of that will be the frontline health workers, the nurses and the doctors, to inject the vaccines in children's arms.
And the effort towards places like Liberia has to be sustained. Vaccines only work well if every child gets one, and every child born after that. Today's 4-year spending programme will only pay dividends here if the money keeps coming.